Hey ladies, I had to share this video with you. I know we're not yet there, that part of Esther, right? We are in chapter 4. We had the first um, part of the chapter. So next week we're going to finish the last text. You know, when you read the last part of chapter 4, there's this famous scripture, right? So it says that you are called for such a time as this. Verse 14. I actually want to give you this nugget before we get there. It says, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your family will perish." So, and then it continues to say, "And who knows but that you have come to a royal position for such a time as this." So, I want to say something to you today. And I gave it a title also because it hit home hard. So I name it "Do It Afraid," because Esther was bold, but she was also afraid. She knew that approaching the king without permission, and mind you, she hasn't been there for 30 days. Your husband has not called for you for 30 days. So what are you showing up to do what? And all of a sudden you are a Jew? So do it afraid anyway. Esther was terrified. Approaching the king uninvited meant potential death. So do it afraid means that courage is not an absence of fear. But as you approach, as you do what God is telling you to do in this season, even with your hand shaky, you have to know God is backing you up because He has called you for such a time as this. If you could step in boldly, if you could just say, you know what, I got this, I got to do this, it means you are doing it in your own effort, right? Trusting God, taking a bold step does not mean that you're not afraid. What challenge are you currently facing, or are you avoiding? Esther was instructed by her uncle Mordecai. He was instructor to go to the king's palace. You might be facing for such a time as this moment. What is that issue? What is that thing? I can share with you what I have experienced just to be transparent, right? And mathematically, it might be something that is maybe not in that line, but I felt it that way. So I had to go somewhere with a young guy, and he had some restriction, right? So there are some restriction he had to follow, and one of the restriction was that he was not allowed to be in a car with nobody. Actually, he has to take public transport. And knowing that, I was called to assist, to go to a meeting, which was very important, that was also in line with that restriction. I was the driver. So that night, I couldn't sleep. I was like, oh Lord, this is breaking the law. This is exactly what is not supposed to do. I will be the driver and do this. What if I get stopped by the police? What if we all have to identify ourselves? Oh my God. It will be on me that will risk somebody else's life, right? So I was so afraid. I didn't sleep that whole night. But that morning I got up and I said, okay, Lord, this is one of those called for such a time as this moment. Father, just like Esther, I'm going to go. If I perish, I perish. If they stop me, they stop me. That's what it is. But my intention is good. And mind you, long story short, God showed up in such a powerful way. We came back from the appointment and all was set. We even had the confirmation of that this particular trip we took was allowed because it was in line with that restriction. So God has placed you in your family, in your workplace, in your community for a reason. maybe you have to step up to that family member. Maybe you have to say what everybody else is avoiding to say, but in love and in truth, right? And so when we talk about Esther coming to that place of stepping to the king, it might not be a palace that you have to face, right? Because even if you're in the palace, even if you're in a good place, but what good does it do if you're in the place and there's no peace? So in order for peace to reign, you got to speak up. And that's what we are called to do. We are called as ambassadors. We are called to witness and testify about the goodness of God. So I want to encourage you, even in this Esther season, it might be your work, it might be that colleague that keeps on, having comment on each and every one, and you hear it and you see it. And as a believer, you got to stand for righteousness. You have to stand for justice. When people are treated unfair, we as Christians, we got to speak up. And actually, that's what the book of Esther is all about, right? You might not face a death sentence. You might not face that you be stoned. But you speaking the truth, it shows that you are bold. It shows that you have compassion for the people of God. So I want to challenge you. We have till next week, Thursday. We're going to have the reading. We're going to finish that very important part of Esther. Remember, we said that the first part was God is going to give you a plan. Well, that plan is that situation. That plan is that position. That plan is that thing that is now happening, and it's troubling you. So you can't keep silent. This is your time to speak. And as God has ordained you to speak, He has your back. So even shaking, even afraid, know that when God is with you, no one can be against you. He got your back. And greater is He that is in the inside of you than the enemy that is of this world. The enemy can bark as a dog, but you have the weapon of warfare. Your voice is a weapon, and it's powerful, and it carries authority. And as God has instructed you to read the book of Esther, He's already given you the scepter. So go ahead, do it afraid, but know that God is with you. Shalom. Looking forward to see you. Bye-bye.